So here's what happened in Formula One this week. Now, if you don't have the time to watch the full video, then here are the 7 things that we are going to discuss now. First of all is Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari. And if you have not seen any content from this, then where do you live? Second is Laura Müller being the first female race engineer in Formula One, working with Esteban Ocon in Haas. Third is that Angela Cullen is with Lewis Hamilton again. Number 4 is that the FIA has released some really questionable regulations. Number 5 is mark your calendars because the car launch dates are dropping. And yes, there's a difference between the car launch and also the Formula One 75th anniversary event. Number 6 is that the FIA is now starting a new department for the officials because they don't want to rely that much on volunteers anymore. And number 7, and a little bit of a random one, but Gordon Ramsay and Formula One are now working together on a unique culinary experience in the paddock for 10 races called Formula One Garage. And let's be honest, most of us will probably never experience it. But anyway, let's do a little bit of a deep dive in each topic. So starting with Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. We all knew that this day was coming, but the way it was coming was just really well done marketing from Ferrari's side, because they took this opportunity to approach their strategy a little bit more different, a little bit more mature and also aesthetic, and a hint of their heritage, which is really nice change and kind of lifts them off from everyone else. I hope they continue with this into the season as well and throughout it. And then there was the big day of Lewis Hamilton joining them at the factory in Italy, and the really big news picture, him in front of Enzo Ferrari's villa with the iconic Ferrari, his suit that makes him look like a mafia boss, and yeah, just everything around it was chef's kiss, but I've covered this enough on my channel. We saw him in his race suit, in his red race suit, I wanted to say. That just was pure beauty with his yellow helmet that has a little bit of a hint at his time with Nico Rosberg at Mercedes. And yeah, it's just overall, it was just a great way of introducing him into the team and utilizing the momentum with also the YouTube video on his first time in the Ferrari, showing the crowd, showing the team, and last but not least, also including Charles Leclerc, because in all of this, he of course took a little bit of a step back in the sense of Ferrari marketing, but he's still a massive part of the team. And the latest news on this matter is that Lewis Hamilton will do Pirelli tire testing in Barcelona, I think on the 12th of February, so there's still more to come from him. Laura Müller, the first female race engineer. So Laura Müller is not a well-known name in Formula One until last week, where she was officially announced as the first female race engineer at Haas for Esteban Ocon. She joined the team in 2022 in the simulation and then moved up to performance engineer and now got the big promotion of a racing engineer. And that is one of the most senior titles you can get in the paddock. Angela Cullen with Lewis Hamilton. So Angela Cullen is not an unknown name in Formula One. She has been with Lewis Hamilton since 2016 all the way to 2023, but then she moved on to IndyCar, where she was also a physiotherapist, and now she joined Lewis Hamilton not only as a physiotherapist but also in his business venture Project 44, which she started in the move to joining Ferrari. And that makes me wonder 2 things. First of all, is Lewis Hamilton going back in his old shape with her? Because that was a really brilliant team. And second, how was the departure in 2023 between them? Was it willingly or were there other parties at play? The FIA regulations. So the FIA has released some new regulations this week regarding how the drivers are presenting themselves in PR and also how they represent the FIA. Now, this does not only affect the Formula One drivers, but also all types of drivers. And I feel like this is a direct response to the GDPR message. Now, within those regulations are points such as using words, gestures, statements that could harm the FIA, their bodies and any members, and also could damage the image of the FIA. Then there's also not making any political, religious, or in that sort of statements. and then also having to attend mandatory events that are ruled by the FIA. They are then fined, but also more. So there's 3 offenses they could make. The first offense is just a fine of 10,000 euros. The second offense is 20,000 euros with a 1 month suspension suspended, so they get a warning that they will get a 1 month suspension. And the third offense is then 40,000 euros with a 1 month suspension and championship points deducted. These are all base prices, so they get multiplied depending on which race category they are in. So for Formula 1, it's a 4-time multiplier. So someone for a first offense has to pay 40,000 euros all the way up to 120,000 euros with a 1 month suspension and also championship points. In my opinion, and this is really just personal opinion, I feel like this is really losing any grip and hurting the sport way more than they believe they are saving it, because this is now involving personal opinion on how drivers are allowed to speak. Because one also important fact is the FIA can decide if that is now a penalty or not. So there is no certain rule of this word is not allowed, but it is just how they feel like. And this really limits how the drivers can express themselves, because there is a difference between swearing because you are happy
I love you all.
And also swearing at an inanimate object such as a car.
I don't know, man, different setup. So as soon as I went into qualifying, I knew the car was...
It's also not swearing with any damage, but then swearing at a person is a complete different thing. There has been a lack of differentiation in this matter, in my opinion. Now, this could lead up to the drivers protesting, which I most likely see happening. And also, I don't know how Formula 1 is going to react to this, because let's be honest, swearing is a form of entertainment. And we all love when drivers are screaming at each other on track, which is completely normal, and also just showcase their true emotions.
What the is this idiot doing? Is he okay?
And I honestly can also see Formula 1 going also against this a little bit and creating a pod for the drivers and saying, guys, we have, let's say, 10 million euros. You go on and do what you want and just keep on, and we are going to pay for the fines and also see that you don't get suspended. And then when there's too much money spent, then you have to pay yourself. I mean, this could be a solution, right? But then this would not stop the 1 month suspension. And also championship point deduction, because what is this? Also, someone made a really great point. All these drivers, English is not their main language, their mother language, except for 3 drivers on the grid, 4 drivers. And the rest is all foreign kids that have learned English in the racing world that is full of swearing. So it is just in their nature to do it. And you can say shit 3 times in a row and then suddenly be suspended and have championship points deducted. So besides those regulations, there's also other regulations where the teams are not allowed to go against certain decision making anymore. So they just have to take everything by face value and accept as it comes, because there has never been any mistake made ever by the race director or stewards, right? I mean, in what world are we living that this is normal? And I truly also think that because this decision has not been combined decision by the FIA, sorry, I forgot the word, but I feel like this could also be a big backlash on the president himself. But yeah, let's see. So I feel like this also raises the question if Formula 1 could leave FIA. And I will do another deep dive on this because it's a bigger matter, but in short, it is a little bit tricky, and I don't think they will unless there is true monetary value at stick. Car launches in February. So each team is going to present their car not only at the 75th anniversary event in London, but also individually in their home factory, because there's a difference between both events. So the 75th anniversary is more of a livery launch and just celebrating 75th anniversary for Formula One, and the car launch goes more into detail of what they have changed and what their thought process was behind it, and also in a little bit of a closed circle with journalists and media, which is the same at the end of the day, right? But yeah, mark your dates, and here are the first release dates. There are more to come, but let's see. FIA Officials Department. So the FIA has now also started an officials department after some incidents with volunteer stewards and also some backlash regarding that. As you know, so far the FIA has really relied on volunteer stewards, which are always new and never really that trained to be a steward in such a high-risk sport and see the rules, see the regulations and react accordingly. And even though the president has gone against this, the FIA has now started an officials department where they are training stewards, where they have now a group of people that are always well trained and know what to do. So there's less damage and less rules that are not being followed, and also that raises less questions. And I think it's a great move, because this way the FIA is being a little bit more professional and yeah, just eliminates some rookie mistakes. Gordon Ramsay and Formula One. So as I said, this is a random fact, but Formula One and Gordon Ramsay are now working together on a culinary experience in the paddock called the F1 Garage, where it's just going to be a high-end experience for all paddock guests, and let's be honest, we will not see this anyway. Yeah, because this has been so much, here is a minute of lo-fi music.